man. It's all 9 classes done. Tier lists are done. We freaking did it. You know what? It was good. I can now say that if I were to stop making TF2 videos right now, I would be totally fine because all of my thoughts are now neatly archived into a series of videos for your viewing pleasure or displeasure, depending on how you want to use these videos. I suppose one could find some shred of joy in getting angry at something they don't like, much like I do with this video game. I enjoy getting mad at video games. It's very cathartic. It's to release a lot of that negative energy built up in me that I can't direct towards anything else. So I get pissed at video games. If I can't get it out in my normal exercise routine, I just play a video game and get pissed off. So there you go. A lot of people think I put up an act for some reason, but no, I just get pissed off at video games like a lot of other people do. So yeah, not directing that anger towards anyone in particular. So who gives a shit? But yeah, man, these lists were fun. It was fun engaging with people, and for that I have to thank all of you because coming and hanging out with me on my streams and checking me out in the comment section and making friends down there is it's always fun doing that. But just talking about the game is fun for me. It's a good pastime for me. I've been doing it for years, and just being able to do it now with such a wide platform.
Archaeology. It's a fascinating field of science devoted to unearthing the shared past of humanity. To most people, it's mainly mummies and Stonehenge, but to archaeologists like me, it's more than that. Today, I, Trade the Explainer, am going to take a deep dive into some of the weirdest, most obscure, and just fascinating finds and stories in the history of archaeology that the average person doesn't really get to hear about. And I am doing this in the iceberg meme format, where at the top are things people generally know about, and as we get closer and closer to the bottom, the topics will get weirder and weirder and more niche. Okay, are you ready? This is the archaeology iceberg. The Sphinx's nose job. This refers to the apparent absence of the Great Sphinx of Giza's nose. A popular legend claims that the nose was shot off with a cannonball by a couple of Napoleon Bonaparte's soldiers during the 19th century. This story, however, is clearly false, as many illustrations show the Sphinx already lacked a nose centuries before Napoleon was even born. The nose is thought to have been intentionally removed sometime during the 3rd to 10th centuries AD. It also once had a beard. It was aliens. This statement refers to the fringe ancient astronaut or ancient aliens conspiracy theory popularized by Eric von Däniken. The theory is essentially that ancient civilizations, namely non-European ones, couldn't have constructed or made their technological advancements without the assistance of a more advanced civilization of aliens teaching them how to do it. Aliens apparently helped build everything from the pyramids to Stonehenge to the Nazca Lines because we were too stupid to do it ourselves. 5,000-year-old murder mystery. A reference to Otzi, the Iceman, a naturally mummified human body dating to 3,300 BC. He was discovered encased in ice on the border between Austria and Italy, with his clothes, belongings, skin, and organs all intact. He is perhaps one of the oldest and most well-preserved human specimens to date.
Scientists explored its colon and everything on live television.
Examinations of his body appear to show that Otzi was murdered by an unknown assailant and left for dead in the snow thousands of years ago, for reasons unknown. It's a real cold case. Dead Sea Scrolls. These are possibly one of the most significant archaeological finds of the past century. They are a collection of Hebrew manuscripts discovered in a system of desert caves in the West Bank, originally by a goat herder. This collection of documents consists of some of the oldest surviving copies of the Hebrew Bible, or Old Testament, dated to about 408 BC to 318 AD. Giant skeletons. This is a reference to Nephilim conspiracy theories on the internet, where dozens of poorly photoshopped images of giant skeletons are presented as evidence for a race of building-sized humans in our distant past. Lion Man. This is the Lauenmensch, a prehistoric figurine of a lion-headed man carved into mammoth ivory and dating to between 35,000 to 40,000 years old. It is one of the oldest examples of figurative art and personas. Some say it might be a bear-headed man instead of a lion, but who knows. Curse of King Tut. This refers to the superstitious belief that the opening of the tomb belonging to the boy pharaoh Tutankhamun in 1923 placed a curse on the excavation team and other visitors, resulting in many untimely deaths. In truth, out of the 58 people who were present when the tomb was open, only about 8 died prematurely within a dozen years. Many of those deaths were the result of outside factors, such as malaria and fever, and probably not related to the excavation at all. Most people who worked on the tomb went on to live otherwise healthy and long lives. The Shroud of Turin. The Shroud of Turin is a controversial linen cloth which contains the negative image of a bearded man. Many have claimed that the cloth was used to wrap Jesus Christ after his crucifixion. However, numerous scientific tests conducted on the cloth have shown it to be most likely a counterfeit product of the Middle Ages, rather than an authentic relic. 7 Wonders. According to ancient historians, there were 7 legendary man-made monuments built in antiquity that Greeks and Romans marveled at for their beauty and sheer impressive scale. All of them, save one, the Great Pyramid of Giza, have been destroyed or lost to time. The Terracotta Army. This is an immense collection of terracotta sculptures depicting the vast army of Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China, and buried with him for the purpose of protecting him in the afterlife. Oak Island. Oak Island is an island in Nova Scotia that has been the focus of pseudo-archaeologists for several hundred years. Many enthusiasts have become convinced that anything from alien technology to pirate gold to the Ark of the Covenant to Shakespeare's lost plays exists beneath the island, in the so-called Money Pit. The search has been fruitless for many decades, as no significant treasure site or artifacts have been uncovered, despite the claims of its proponents. There's probably nothing there. Also, like King Tut's tomb, a curse is believed to exist around the site. However, this hasn't been substantiated. It wasn't aliens. If there's one thing archaeologists have discovered, it's that humans are crafty and smart buggers, constantly finding unique and ingenuitive ways to reach a goal. Just because it wasn't white people doesn't mean it was aliens. The Walking Heads. In 2012, a team of archaeologists successfully transported a 5-ton Moai head replica using only ropes and manpower, as an experiment to replicate the methods by which the people of Easter Island in the past might have transported the heads themselves. No aliens were required. Internal ramp theory. This refers to one of the several competing methods by which the Great Pyramid of Giza was constructed. The internal ramp theory posits that an internal spiral ramp exists within the pyramid itself and aided in the dragging of building materials during construction. Archaeological evidence supporting this view exists, although it has not been fully accepted yet. There is seemingly a universality of humans' tendency to draw these little rocket ships on everything. Augustus under the stairs. This is the Meroe Augustus, a decapitated bronze head originally belonging to a statue of the famous Roman emperor. It was discovered beneath the staircase of an ancient Kushite temple in what is now Sudan. In 24 BC, the head was hacked off from its original body in Roman Egypt by invading Kushite soldiers, who took it across the border as a prize of war. Back in Kush, as a gesture of victory, the head was buried beneath the temple staircase, so worshippers would symbolically step on the defeated emperor's face. This insult, however, had the unintentional consequence of preserving it over thousands of years, better than pretty much any other Roman bronze. Notably, the head retains its decorative inlaid eyes that are often missing in other specimens. Also, the eyes look like prime me material. Cave paintings are movies. This is an interesting theory concerning the extra heads and extra limbs that are commonly depicted in prehistoric cave paintings of animals. The theory speculates that these duplicated body parts were drawn intentionally to create the illusion of movement. The light of torches would twist the shadows along the cave walls and make the images appear to come alive through a primitive form of animation by early humans. I was here. Throughout history, humans have always had the tendency to leave dumb, goofy inscriptions simply stating they were here. There's literally thousands of examples of these. Work in progress. The best way for archaeologists to learn about how peoples in the past did things is to see what they just gave up on and left incomplete or abandoned. For example, there are dozens of unfinished moai, or Easter Island heads, and Egyptian obelisks chiseled out of the rock but never fully completed. These are often due to accidental damage during construction, or a simple lack of enthusiasm to finish them. Some of these things are still waiting to be finished after thousands of years. Man, I thought my procrastination was bad. Europeans ate mummies. From the Middle Ages up until relatively recently, wealthy Europeans would consume the flesh of Egyptian mummies by grinding them into a powder called mummia. It was believed that this powder had great medicinal properties and could treat gout, epilepsy, and cataracts. King Richard found in a parking lot. Remember that one time archaeologists straight up found the skeleton of King Richard III, the last king of the Plantagenet dynasty, beneath a car parking lot? Good times. Ancient statues and buildings were colorfully painted. Although many of the ancient statues and buildings that survive to us today appear to be rather drab stone or smooth white marble, in the past they would have looked much different. Closer analysis of these monuments have shown that many would have been beautifully painted in their heyday, with faint traces of their pigments still detectable. The ancient world was in truth very bright and vibrant, from this statue of Augustus to the entire Parthenon, to Aztec temples, to the Sphinx's face. All of it would have been filled with color, but due to time, many of these pigments have long since faded.
Hi, doggy.
KV-55 is Akhenaten. Refers to the interpretation of the mummy and Valley of the King's Tomb. KV-55 is the infamous monotheistic pharaoh Akhenaten. DNA evidence appears to support this long-suspected identity, as the individual in this tomb was both the son of Amenhotep III, as well as the father of Tutankhamun. Creeping feathered serpent shadow. During the spring and autumn equinoxes at the Mayan temple of Kukulkan in Chichen Itza, the sun hits the pyramid in just the right way that it causes a series of triangular shadows to creep down the front stairway. This effect only lasts a few minutes out of the entire year, but through this clever arrangement of architecture, the dark body of the feathered serpent god appears to slither down its fearsome carved head. Donkey-headed Jesus. This is the Alexamenos graffito, a piece of graffiti in Rome that might be the earliest depiction of Jesus. Dated to around 200 AD, the graffiti shows a young man worshipping a crucified figure with the head of a donkey. An inscription accompanies the image, stating in Greek, Alexamenos worships his god. It is thought that the drawing was created to mock an early Christian named Alexamenos, the donkey-headed figure being an insulting caricature of Jesus of Nazareth. Mesoamerican grills. Among several pre-contact cultures in Mesoamerica, the teeth of elites were drilled into and filled with inlays of precious stones and jewels. These ancient grills were a type of status symbol, as well as a huge health hazard. So much has been lost. Everything that has survived is only an incredibly small fraction of what actually existed in the past. Roman bikinis. There are several well-preserved Roman floor mosaics that depict a bunch of women wearing bikini-like athletic outfits. Voynich manuscript. The Voynich manuscript is a rather mysterious document written in an unknown writing system. It consists of nearly 240 pages and is filled with illustrations of fictitious plants, mythical creatures, and people. It has been carbon dated to the early 15th century, although its exact origin is a little muddy. It is unclear who wrote the manuscript and why. It seems probable that it was written in some kind of cipher or code that only the author understood. Andean brain surgery. Several civilizations in the Andes Mountains conducted skull and brain surgeries and were actually pretty good at it, as evidenced by their high survival rate of patients, estimated to be around 90%. Gospel of Judas. This refers to one of the lost Gospels found in the Nag Hammadi Library, a collection of religious texts belonging to an early but now extinct sect of Christianity. The only fragmentary copy of the Gospel of Judas that survives us is one of the most intriguing of these documents, as it narrates an alternate narrative of Jesus' crucifixion and frames Judas not as a traitor but a loyal servant to the end. Undeciphered languages. All around the world, there are dozens, if not hundreds, of inscriptions on everything from clay tablets to old boulders, written in systems of glyphs and symbols that are as of yet undecipherable to modern experts. Although we would very much like to, we currently have no way to read what these inscriptions say, because the languages they are written in have been lost to time. From Rongo Rongo, Easter Island, to Linear A in Minoan Crete, to the Somali scripts, to the Singapore stone, to the writing on the back of the starving Saqqara statue. All of these are completely unreadable scripts, and they still keep their secrets. At least for the moment, that is. Maine penny. There's a Norwegian medieval coin that was found in what is now the state of Maine in the United States. If this artifact is genuine, it would support the idea that Norsemen from Europe had not only crossed the Atlantic Ocean on their longships, but had contact and conducted trade with Native Americans centuries before Christopher Columbus. Rock music. Several fragments of Paleolithic flutes have been discovered in caves and dated to tens of thousands of years old. These ivory and animal bone flutes were made by some of our earliest ancestors during the Ice Age. Archaeologists have reconstructed them to determine what Stone Age music would have sounded like, and boy is it eerie to imagine hearing their sad notes echoing throughout the forest in the dark of winter.
Want to listen to some tunes?
Cat on the roof. As this Roman roof tile shows, even after 2,000 years, cats have never changed. Hey, don't touch that mask. Refers to an image of a carved green stone mask discovered beneath the Pyramid of the Sun in Teotihuacan, Mexico, back in 2011. Due to its resemblance to the stone mask in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and the mask in the mask, a lot of people online joked that the archaeologists should leave the mask alone because disturbing it would end the world. Oh, they might have been right. Faces of the dead. In Roman Egypt, mummies of people belonging to the upper class were typically buried with highly detailed portraits of their living faces. Many of these coffin portraits have survived us over the centuries and are incredibly lifelike, showing a wide range of facial shapes, hairstyles, and personalities. Ocean Man. In the summer of 1964, the nets of an Italian fishing trawler snagged something off the coast of the Adriatic. This was what they found. The fishermen had discovered an ancient bronze sculpture encased in centuries of patina and sea scum. Extensive cleaning revealed that the statue was a lithe and beautiful athlete, and consequently he is now referred to as the victorious youth. He was sculpted sometime during the Hellenistic period, possibly by the famous Greek artist Lysippus. The sculpture likely ended up off the coast of Italy on a Roman ship that sunk in a storm, although the wreck of the ship itself has not been located. Meteoric iron. Before the Iron Age, iron was, as to be expected, in short supply. Humans had no means to produce it from raw ore. However, iron from meteorites provided people in the past a very rare opportunity to fashion metal tools and weapons. Scientific evidence has shown that artifacts like King Tut's dagger and the spearheads of some Inuit lances were in fact fashioned out of iron, harvested from space rocks fallen from the heavens. Whoa. The Nazis took the Lance of Longinus. During the 1930s, several Nazi leaders took a keen interest in the field of archaeology. Heinrich Himmler greenlit several searches for legendary places and artifacts like the city of Atlantis and the Ark of the Covenant, apparently to no avail. One object that was supposedly recovered by the Nazis was the Lance of Longinus, or Holy Lance, the spear allegedly used to pierce Jesus' body on the cross. The imperial regalia of the Holy Roman Empire dubiously claimed to have acquired the lance in the Middle Ages. In 1938, after the annexation of Austria, the relic was brought to Adolf Hitler and displayed in Germany for a short time. After the war ended, however, the Holy Lance was returned to Vienna. Crown of nails. Well, maybe not. The Iron Crown of Lombardy is a metal crown made during the early Middle Ages for a Christian Italian king. A band in the crown was supposedly made from one of the iron nails used in Jesus' crucifixion. However, an examination of the headwear has revealed that it is 99% silver, not iron, meaning the legendary story surrounding it is almost definitely false. Ramses II passport. In 1976, the 3,000-year-old mummy of Pharaoh Ramses II was flown from Cairo, Egypt to Paris, France, so that he could receive a much-needed restoration. A popular internet rumor states that in order to leave and enter the two countries, Ramses had to be issued a passport. This is a bit of a half-truth, as although a lot of paperwork was created for him, an actual physical passport was never produced. This image circulating around on the internet is a clever Photoshop. Golden eye. At the site of Share Sukte, a skeleton belonging to a woman possesses the oldest artificial eyeball ever found. The eyeball was covered in a thin layer of gold and was worn regularly while the woman lived. Ancient Barbies. Ancient dolls for children have been discovered at several archaeological sites around the world. Some of these dolls are really creepy looking and incredibly similar to modern Barbie dolls, with posable limbs and decorative clothes that can be swapped out. Gay caveman. This was an incredibly bad piece of journalism. Okay, so in 2011 in the Czech Republic,